Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Super excited to have you here. If you're returning and if you're new, welcome. My name is Destiny. I film bookish content and kind of like lifestyle content as well. I'll sprinkle that in. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing the books that I read during the month of April. Actually, this was a really good reading month for me. How many do I have? I finished 6 books during the month of April. I heavily depended on audiobooks to complete these, and I read most of them as well, but definitely trying to incorporate more audiobooks into like my commute to work and when I have like admin time at work. So that helped me read way more books this month, and they were all pretty good. So let's discuss them. So my first book that I read during like the first 2 days of April actually was by a new author to me. Her name's Lily King, and this was Heart to the Lover. This was a library rental, so I don't have a physical copy with me, but that book actually made me fall in love with Lily King as an author. I later, during like the mid-April, I read a second book by her, but I absolutely loved Heart the Lover by Lily King. I thought it was very like lighthearted and well, the beginning was lighthearted, but I really liked the main character, which we really didn't learn the main character's name until the end of the story. But I liked her dynamic as like a young adult navigating relationships. She was kind of in this love triangle to start at the book, and then just learning more about her as she continued to grow. By the end of the novel, she had experienced some loss, and then she had also experienced getting married and having kids. And so I really enjoyed that book. That book specifically would make Lily King an auto-buy author for me, or at least an like hold at the library. But then the second book that I read, which I actually should have read first because it's the first in kind of like the series, is Writers and Lovers. That book focused on the same main character, but it kind of jumped back in time, or it jumped forward in time. And discussed like her middle. It discussed the middle. Heart the Lover discussed young adulthood into late adulthood, and then Writers and Lovers was like mid adulthood, where she was overcoming the biggest loss in her life, and just like she was very depressed and going through some things at that time, like financially, and like she was becoming the writer that she eventually became. And for both of those stories, I really enjoyed them. I enjoy Hearth the Lover more, and I kind of wish I would have read that book second, which is how you're supposed to read it, but I didn't realize that when I was reading it. But yeah, I enjoyed those. Those are rated like, I think I rated Hearth the Lover like 4.5 stars, and then Writers and Lovers, I think I rated 3, just because the mood was a little bit somber and I was kind of coming off a high from Hearth the Lover. All right. And then the second book that I read between those two was Kin by Tayari Jones. I actually went to her event and I was able to listen to her discuss this book and just her writing process. And so I was really excited to pick up this book. It's my second read by her, and I really enjoyed the dynamic between Vernice and Annie as they navigated girlhood, young adulthood. Um, they went down 2 different paths just based on their childhoods. Bernie specifically lost her mother. Annie's mother abandoned her as a child, and just kind of seeing how that start as a girl evolved later into their lives. Bernice was more of that character that like listened to the adults in her lives, and she took heed to the advice that they gave her. She was very moldable, whereas Annie was kind of stuck in the same desire of finding her mother, and just seeing how that story unfolded broke my heart. Which it was just a sad ending because it's just like Annie was constantly in a state of need, and she never could like bask in the moment that she was in, bask in the fact that she was able to leave her small town, and she was like finding her way. And she didn't have to stay stuck in that same place, but she chose to. It was hard as a reader to read. And then also for Vernice, she left her hometown as well, and she kind of went down another path where she was kind of being directed and kind of told what to do or what was best for her, instead of allowing herself to figure out what was best for her. She should have followed her heart. And I would have loved to see how that part of the story turned out if she would have followed her heart and less of what people were telling her to do. But Kim was my absolute favorite read for the month. Um, This is an automatic 5 stars for me. I still need to read The American Marriage by Tayari Jones, so that'll be something that I'll be picking up soon. I've already read Silver Sparrow and I enjoyed that one as well. But yeah, I definitely recommend y'all picking this up if you haven't. And then the fourth book that I read was a really short one. That is Another Brooklyn by Jacqueline Woodson. This is my second story that I picked up by Jacqueline Woodson. I believe the first one that I picked up was Red at the Bone or Red to the Bone. I'm going to put the cover here. I can't remember the exact title. I read that years ago at this point, but I really enjoyed this story. At the start, whenever I was going into the book, I compared it to one Summer on State Street by Toya Wolf, I believe. My mind is going blank. I believe it's by her. It may be by somebody else, but I know it's another One Summer on State Street. I compared it to that, and honestly, they took two different perspectives for the book, so I don't want to take that back. But this story right here, I really enjoyed. It follows the main character, August. She's a young girl growing up in Brooklyn during the 1970s, and then her friends Sylvia, Angela, and Gigi. Each of their stories were completely different. Each of their outcomes were different. And so it was really interesting to just follow along with them from like young girlhood all the way up until them graduating from high school and going off into college and seeing how their childhood it's impacted their outcomes as women. For August's story specifically, she was kind of like Annie in Terry Jones's book, where she was constantly desiring relationship with her mom, who she had to leave behind with her dad and brother. That didn't make no sense. She left her mom behind because her dad decided that her and her brother needed to move to a different city, Brooklyn, to get a fresh start, while their mother was dealing with some mental health issues. Um, and so that constant desire and need, how that impacted her outlook on friendships with other girls, and how that impacted her relationship with other women, and then also with her family as well. So I enjoyed reading that. And then also some other things that were like sprinkled in through the story was like the impact of like the crack epidemic on these girls and how they had to kind of shield themselves, especially as their bodies evolved and as they grew into teen girls, and how they interacted with men and boys even who were around their age, and how that impacted their self-image for themselves and the self-love that they had for themselves, because they felt like they had to be guarded in order to protect themselves. And then I tabbed one part of it that I think put that into put that into words better than I can. Okay, we just being real. But it's on page 74. It says, this is around the time where they're like 12, about to turn 13. And it says, but still, as we slipped deeper into 12, our breasts and butts grew, our legs got long. Something about the curve of our lips and the sway of our heads suggested more to strangers than we understood. And then we were heading toward 13, walking our neighborhood as if we owned it. Don't even look at us, we said to the boys, our palms up in front of our faces. Look away, look away, look away. We pretended to believe we could unlock arms and walk the streets alone, but we knew we were lying. There were men inside darkened hallways, around street corners, behind draped windows, wanting to grab us, fill us, and zip their pants to offer us a glimpse. So that's just a little piece. Jacqueline Woodson, I love her writing. Like the pages, they're not full pages. And like there are little words on the page, like there are a few words on the page, but it packs a punch. And I think that part that I just read really sums up, um, the Black girl experience. Regardless if you're growing up in the city or if you're growing up in a more rural area, these are things that I feel like me personally, I can't relate to because I had a mom that she sheltered me. But I know for sure that some of my friends have experienced, and then I know Black women can relate to this, where they're having to kind of hide themselves in order to protect their innocence, and that's such a weight to have to carry as a child. Honestly, having to keep that in mind, and you fully don't understand why you have to protect yourself. You're just told that you do. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. And so this was my fourth read for the month, I believe. And then my last two books for the month of April actually surprised me. They were romances that I thoroughly enjoyed. The first one, this I was just browsing my shelves because I was kind of like hitting a point where I'm like, I don't know what to read. There are a couple of books on my TBR that I want to read, but I just know they're gonna be so good and like nothing's gonna be able to compare to them. So I keep holding them off. So I was just like, oh, I just need like a filler book. I'm not quite ready for that level of, I'm not ready for that. So the book that I decided to pick up, which I absolutely enjoyed, I hate that I put this one off for so long, but it's The Best Man, Unfinished Business by Malcolm D. Lee and Jane Allen. This came out last summer and it was one of my anticipated reads to buy last summer, but I absolutely love this. I love the story, and then I actually like the audiobook as well. It took me a minute to get over the narrator's voices because I kept envisioning the actors and actresses for their voices and they didn't match, but it was close. Um, but yes, I'm very excited for book 2 and book 3 to come out. I believe they're supposed to be coming out sometime this year. There's not a for sure release date, but as soon as they come out, I'm going to go buy them because he left us with a cliffhanger. But all I can say is if you enjoy the movies and then if you enjoyed the series that's available on Peacock, you will absolutely love the book. I felt like the book read very similar to Malcolm D. Lee's writing for the shows and for the movie. But yeah, this was fun. I'm very excited for the next 2 to come out. They're supposed to be coming out this year. Fingers crossed they do. And then my final read of the month of April was one of my anticipated reads and buys for this year. It's a new release. I was so excited to pick this up. I think I went to 2 or 3 barns to buy this just because the ones near me were out of stock, so I had to drive a little bit further. But that is Big Girl Blitz by Danielle Allen. This finishes her Curve series, which the Curve series has Curvy Girl Summer and then Plus Size Player. Read both of those, love them. But this one's my favorite. Main character was Jasmine Payne. I feel like I can relate a lot to Jasmine Payne. I'm not divorced, but I am kind of like, I do kind of just kind of lean towards being in my shell versus being very outgoing. And I loved her relationship that she had with her Aunt Addie as well. Yes, her Aunt Addie. Even with what went on with Aunt Addie, I really enjoyed their relationship and the wisdom that Aunt Addie gave as well, just on being happy and being grateful. And I just love their dynamic, and I love the growth that Jasmine experienced during the story as well. Although towards the end, she was losing me because she was in her head. I was like, girl, get out your head. Like, nobody is looking at you. Nobody is watching you. But I love this. This one gave me all the feels that I miss with my romance stories. So I'm kind of excited to pick up another one. I think I'm in my romance window for the year as we move into the summertime. That's usually when I get in my romance bag. So I'll probably pick up another 2 or 3 stories and then put them down for the rest of the year. But I'm glad I read this one. Let me know below if you read this one or if you read The Best Man as well. 2 that I would highly recommend picking up if you enjoy romance stories. So those are all the books that I read during the month of April. I'm listening to a new book right now that I actually rented from the library. I've been doing really good with my library pickups. Usually I would just go pick it up and then not read it and then return it and then repeat the cycle, but we actually been reading them. And I've been using my library more for my audiobooks as well. But right now I'm reading The 10-Year Affair. I would say I'm about 35% done with it, and it's cool. It's not what I thought it would be, but I'm vibing with it at this point. And then to conclude this video, I want to include a bookish haul. I was out in the city this weekend and I decided to share what I picked up over the weekend. So first are 2 books. They're both new releases. This first one, look how gorgeous this is Where the Wallflowers Grow, and this is by Tara Shelton Harris. This is the author for One Summer in Savannah, which I have not read. I ain't read it, but this was gorgeous. I loved it, and so I got it. On the back it says, Leia is the last of the wild. She knows this because she wanted them all. She watched them all die. Grief never truly fades, and even as the tragedy haunts her, Leia carries on because her survival in her blood. So when the transport bus taking her to prison Kieran's off the road, killing everyone on board except her, she does what's in her nature. She survives. While searching for a place to hide, Leia stumbles upon an unexpected sanctuary, a flower farm in rural Alabama, tucked away from the world. What Leia doesn't expect is the found family there who have built something from the wreckage of their own lives, especially Jackson, the farm's owner, who sees through Leia's defensive, offers her small moments of tenderness, and encourages her to face her own tragedies. Slowly, Leia finds a peace with the hard pace and soft nature of the farm, taking comfort in the life blooming around her. Maybe she's not beyond redemption, not too broken for something good, and maybe, just maybe, Leia starts to heal. But the past isn't so easily buried. No matter how far she runs, the truth of who she is and the ghosts of the wilds follow. And when those secrets catch up to her, threatening everything she's come to love, Leia will have to truly face what she can't survive. This sounds really good. I picked this up. I read the back of it, but I just reread it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds really good. So I'm excited to read this. Hopefully I'll be reading this soon. And I love the sprayed edges as well. This is one of my few, like I don't buy sprayed edges all the time, but I saw this and I was like, wow, I have to buy this. So I did. Then the second book that I picked up is The Art of Loving You by Natasha Bishop. And Natasha Bishop this is a part of her Forever Falling series. And then I read her other book. What is that book called? I forgot. I forgot. Just for the Summer, I believe is what it's called. I believe. Just for the Summer. That sounds right. But I read that by her and it was really good. Oh, I love Natasha Bishop and Kennedy Ryan because they love to include a playlist in the front of the book. And then Kennedy Ryan includes recipes at the end of at least at the end of Skyland series. I have not read Real yet to see if there are any recipes or playlists. But this has a playlist, so I'm gonna play it. But The Art of Loving You, this is her newest release to follow just for the summer, only for the summer, just to follow that. And on the back it says, Dear Danny and Micah, if you're reading this, I'm dead. Danny Jenkins is a boss, a model turned influencer. She doesn't have time for taking a risk on romance. She prefers to keep things casual, but when her mentor, Tanya, dies, she is brought face to face with the man who broke her heart. Artist Micah Wright is a protector who loves fiercely. He's known as the man everyone can count on, but he's never forgiven himself for letting down Danny, the woman he still loves. With Tanya's dying wish forcing Danny and Micah back together to complete a scavenger hunt road trip, Micah sees a second chance for them to get things right. I only have two rules. 1, do it together. 2, make magic. Tensions are high as their undeniable connection reignites, but Danny refuses to let her guard down. As they travel, Micah is determined to prove to Danny that love is worth fighting for. Can she release her fears and relearn the art of loving? Wow. This sounds really, I didn't read, this is my first time reading the back of this. Reading the complete back of it, I read the start of it, but I didn't read the last part. And I'm usually not a second chance romance type of girl because it's just like, why you need a second chance? If the love was real, why do we need the second chance? But I'm actually excited to read this. Maybe this will change my mind, but I usually hate second chance romance because I'm trying to pick out the red flags as to why it failed the first time. Yeah. All right. And then my third book that I picked up, so I bought those at Barnes. And then this third book that I picked up was actually from a local bookstore called Blush. I think it's Blush Bookstore in Bishop Arts in Dallas, if you're familiar with the Dallas area. Actually, yeah, it's Blush Bookstore. I got a bookmark as well. It's super cute. Can you see it? I don't think you can. It says, crying over fictional characters. And I have shed some tears recently over my fictional characters, so I thought this was perfect. But the third book that I picked up is actually another romance. I'm telling y'all, I'm in my bag, and the bag will end probably in July. So I need to take heed right now and read as many as I can. But that is a Church Girl by Naomi Simone. And this is This book I was actually gonna purchase on Amazon because I haven't seen it in store. Like I haven't seen it in Barnes and I haven't seen it in like Books a Million. We have a Books a Million near. But I saw it in there. I was like, oh, I have to pick this up because we try not to buy our books off of Amazon, or at least I try not to. I really do. But this book is about Aaliyah Montgomery isn't just ditching her wedding, she's also fleeing her suffocating small town and her family's expectations. She's got plans for college, for finding herself, but landing a job in Chicago that fits her schedule isn't easy. Good thing Vaughn Howard is desperate to find a live-in nanny. Bad thing that he's a gritty, grumpy, gorgeous tattoo artist carrying as much baggage as he has ink. Vaughn's new hire is inexperienced and a fire hazard in the kitchen. She's also all thick curls, thicker curves, and a distracting mix of innocence and sensuality. After the upheaval of a divorce, he just needs a nanny, not a sneaky link. Meanwhile, Aaliyah is bonding with his 7-year-old and showing an unexpected flair for tattoo art. Who could resist? Yet, deep down, Aaliyah is still running from the feelings and her fear of losing herself to someone else's expectations again. Even as their past return to haunt them, their undeniable heat says maybe it's time to stand and fight for a love they didn't see coming. So yeah, I'm excited for this. And it's not every day you see a book that's $12.99. Cause these right here run 20. So $12.99. Yeah, I was shocked whenever she rung me up. I was like, oh, with the bookmark, it was like $17. So great. Then the last thing that I picked up was actually at a farmer's market. And it is a book cover to protect all of these new books that I just bought. And it's handmade. I love the pattern with the suns and then the light pink in the back. And then it's lined in yellow with pink polka dots. So pick this up. I love a book cover just because I chunk my books in like my backpack to go to work. I chunk them in my bags. They just get chunked. And so the book cover helps protect them and prevent me from tearing my pages. But yeah, guys, that is all for my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like the video. You can comment and then share it as well. And then until next time, y'all be blessed.